Welcome to the March live stream. Welcome to the March live stream. Welcome, welcome. So there was not a lot of news lately, so we're gonna kick off with our Prison Architect 2, more news, feature highlight videos, and then we'll go from there. I also want to mention a few things about Prison Architect 2 in my upcoming live stream for the game. Both have been, if you didn't see it, they both been scheduled for, they've been pushed back to May 7, 2024 instead of March 26th. So I will not be going live on March 26th, 2024. I will be going live on in May. So this also gives me a chance to buy again on the Xbox, which I'll be showing you guys that, and when we get to the internet, when we get to the website. So yep, all right. So let's see. So let's get started. And welcome to Prison Architect 2. So, again, I'm going to do a quick sound check on my side. You may hear me sing. You may hear your echo, but I will mute turn it down once I figure out. Welcome to Prison Architect. Alright, sound check complete. So sounds coming through the computer. So, yep. We are live. Let's get started.
Managing prisoners in Prison Architect 2 is a ruckus. News and updates. News and
So let's begin with this.
Generic greetings, Stuff Plus here, taking a break from making wholesome generic gaming videos on my channel to talk to you about Prison Architect 2. This is a collaboration with Paradox Interactive in order to bring you up to speed on prisoner management in Prison Architect 2. In this video we'll cover prisoner regime, visitation, and prisoner labour. Let's get into it. Prisoner regime. Prison life consists of routine, and then more routine. Luckily then that you are in control of it. Under Management, the Regime tab allows you to control what happens throughout the day. Either use one of the built-in presets, ranging from lenient to strict, or customise the regime to your liking. The day is also divided into 2-hour blocks. Each of these can be modified to schedule certain events, in turn instructing the prisoners to act, or be ordered, accordingly. What's that smell? With shower time, inmates will head to the closest shower and freshen up, catering for their hygiene need. Stomach rumbling? Then schedule some mealtime. Cooks will prepare food in advance of inmates arriving at the canteen and loading up those food trays. You will need to burn off some of those calories, so yard time it is. Inmates head to the yard for some fresh air and much needed exercise. Some prisoners not playing nice? Then set some cell time to give them a chance to think about things and cool off. Free time gives the inmates time to go about their business and manage their needs as they see fit. Finally, now that everybody's took it out, it's time for some sleep. With sleep time, inmates head to their cells and get some much needed rest, ready to start the whole thing over again tomorrow. Categories of prisoner are listed separately for finer control, and you're able to copy the regime from one category to another. This, along with other tools in Prison Architect 2, allow you to control your inmates and manage their needs. It's important to strike the right balance within the regime, but don't be afraid of experimenting. Visitation. Although their transgressions have forced inmates to now be held at your pleasure, they still have the right to meet with family. The visitation room gives provision for this. Visitors, be it family or lawyers, will visit between 10 AM and 4 PM. Either sitting at a table or through the thick glass of the visitor booth, this room caters for their social need. You'll need to ensure there's a safe and secure way for your visitors to access the visitation room, so take that into account when building. Prisoner labour. No free ride. Want your inmates to learn valuable skills whilst contributing to the prison? Then you may want to investigate prison labour. Giving your inmates the chance to work does have its advantages, both for you and them. Inmates can work either in the laundry or kitchen, the latter requiring correct training via the kitchen safety programme. Work satisfies a prisoner's reform need and also allows you to reduce your staff and therefore costs. This will, however, give your inmates potential access to contraband and could prove problematic if for whatever reason they decide not to work. This covers several of the prisoner management choices you have in Prison Architect 2. Let me know what you think in the comments. Once again, plus 10 generic gratitude points for watching. Subscribe to keep apprised. Once again, thanks for watching. Take care, and generic partings.
Once again, this is being by Stuff Plus and one more person, but he only got one video. I will link their information in the comments below once the live stream is over. So yeah.
Managing prisoners in Prison Architect. News and updates. Feature highlight number 5, Prisoner Management. Please note, the visuals and gameplay footage showcased in this video are from earlier adding the management into simulation management. Perhaps unsurprisingly, one of the key menus in Prison Architect 2 is management. This covers a lot of the core of the game, particularly who can go where, and when should they go there? We've covered deployment and patrols in a previous update, so for now we're going to focus on the others: regime, room labor, permissions, and programs. Regime work makes the dream work. The prison regime drives every aspect of your prisoners' lives. It determines everything from when they wake up, through to how often they're fed, and the amount of time they are allowed to work, hang out in the yard, or roam free and socialize. There's a default daily regime set up automatically when you start a new prison, one which should meet the basic early game needs for your inmates. And presets for quick lenient or strict regimes. But as your population and prison grows, with more rooms and facilities, it's prudent to go and customize your regimes to allow for the efficient operation of your prison machine. D1. The regime is split into 1-hour blocks, and inmates will only start moving to their new regime slot once it's begun, so make sure that the regime slots are in a sensible order and rooms are appropriately spaced. If your layout and regime are inefficient, you could end up with inmates wasting all of their time walking to the shower block and not actually having time to wash their stinky bods. If you don't want your min SEC and max SEC inmates mixing, you can adjust the regimes of each security level to avoid this. This means you can maintain a single canteen or yard, but set the inmates to use them at different times. This will save you construction time and money, and make sure you have plenty of space to build more cells. Permission? Impossible. So with regimes, we've already told our inmates when to do stuff. Now we can use permissions to tell them where they're allowed to do it. Permissions are an incredibly important tool for keeping everyone in their proper place. On the Permissions tab, you can choose from a list of preset permission groups. These are split by security level, min, medium, max, supermax, as well as NPC types including staff only and staff and visitors. The permissions will essentially bar certain characters from entering the space, unless they're using it to escape, when they don't really care. If you designate a space as staff and visitors only, then no inmates avoid those spaces. If you mark a cell block as medium security, then other inmates can't be assigned to those cells. You can use these permissions to add a great deal of control to the flow of characters around your prison, and even make whole single security wings with their own facilities. Get with the program. Reform and education programs are an essential part of Prison Architect 2 life, allowing inmates to access training courses for various issues. Be aware that inmates can only attend classes when they're in a free time regime slot, so it's important to make these available for the security levels you wish to allow access to education. Once you've built a classroom, you can schedule education programs such as higher education and kitchen safety. Once you've built a common room, you can schedule reform programs like behavioral therapy and addiction treatments. From the Programs tab, you'll be shown all of the classes available for you to set up, as well as the associated costs, your current qualifications, and the prisoners who are interested in enrolling. Hard labor? Using the room labor menu, you can assign different staff members to specific rooms around the prison. For example, you might notice all of your doctors hanging out in one infirmary and ignoring the one full of dying inmates. In this case, a quick visit to the Room Labor tab will allow you to choose how many doctors to assign to each, allowing for a healthy spread of minimum staff levels. In Prison Architect 2, you've also got two choices for inmate labor, the laundry and kitchen. As soon as you have a laundry room, you can assign inmates to take over clothing duties, but inmates will need to have completed the kitchen safety program in order to work in the kitchen and cook meals for their cellmates. Assigning inmates to work in your laundry and kitchen will save you money on wages in the long term, as well as meeting the reform needs of inmates, and even boosting their chance of passing a parole hearing. Thanks once again for reading. The team put so much time and love into this game, so we're excited to see people getting a head start and boning up on the core mechanics. Once you get your hands on the game, we can't wait to see what you end up doing. Will you build hermetically sealed full service?
Okay, so that was number 5. Now we're going to number 6, which is mentioned by a different person. I think this is prisoners. So this is someone else.
Generic greetings. Stuff Plus here, taking a break from making wholesome generic gaming videos on my channel to talk to you about Prison Architect 2. This is a collaboration with Paradox Interactive in order to bring you up to speed on personalities and relationships in Prison Architect 2. In this video we'll cover prisoners' traits, connections, significant interactions, and criminal records. Let's get into it. Prisoner traits. Your digital internees in Prison Architect 2 can come with traits. Select a prisoner and check their bio tab for traits. These traits affect their actions and behaviours and can lead them to be more passive, more aggressive, extra sneaky, and everything in between. Cowards, for example, are less likely to start a fight and have an increased need for safety. On the flip side, fearless inmates relish any opportunity to join an altercation and are more likely to take risks and vandalise the place. Light-fingered inmates steal anything not bolted down, and geniuses are always thinking up clever ways to escape. Prisoners can also be well-connected, silver-tongued, or even feared. It's important to be aware of a prisoner's traits and be on the lookout for potentially problematic combinations. This covers just a few of the prisoner traits in Prison Architect 2. There's plenty more to discover. Prisoner connections. Prisoners who spend time together are naturally bound to form some sort of relationship. This is represented by a friendship level and ranges from positive to negative. As standard, prisoners who've met don't share a strong opinion of one another. Acquaintances may nod at each other in the corridor, but are mostly ambivalent with no alterations in their behaviour. Prisoners with similar traits and who get along, however, are likely to become friends. They enjoy spending time in each other's company, which helps reduce conflict. Close friends are the best buddies and willing to share in activities. This means equally chatting in the common room or misbehaving. They've got each other's backs either way, so it's not always a good thing. On the flip side, inmates with differing traits are more likely to become rivals. It's fair to say they don't get along and may react negatively toward one another. Upset someone enough and you'll make enemies. Enemies share a raw, seething, deep hatred and contempt for one another. Expect frequent altercations and unwanted disruptions. Probably best to keep them separate then. Significant interactions. Significant interactions are noteworthy events where a prisoner's feelings towards each other change. Upon first meeting, they may form a positive opinion of one another. As days pass within your facility, the inmates may have cordial interactions, such as hanging out or friendly chats. It's not always positive though. Disagreements and insults are bound to arise, especially confined within the cramped walls. This will negatively affect a prisoner's relationships and may lead to unwanted discord. All these interactions will affect their friendship level and therefore their connections, as mentioned previously. Try to keep track of your inmates' interactions. Criminal records. Finally, we have the prisoner's record. This details the prisoner's time and actions within your prison, good or bad. Included in their record are a list of events the prisoner has experienced, such as making friends, punishments, or being involved in unfortunate incidents. Also detailed are programs and qualifications, time served, and chances of successful parole. Not only is this information useful, but helps to add depth to your prisoner's experiences. Be sure to check it out. This covers the bulk of the personalities and relationship system in Prison Architect 2. Let me know what you think in the comments. Once again, plus 10 generic gratitude points for watching. Subscribe to keep apprised. Once again, thanks for watching. Take care, and generic partings.
333, 346. News and updates. News and updates. Feature highlight number 6 personalities and relationships. Please note, the visuals and gameplay footage showcased in this video are from earlier development phases and may not accurately reflect the final game. Anticipate improvements in quality upon release. Welcome back, architects. We're here to chat about one of our favorite parts of the game, the inmates. It's sometimes easy to forget that behind the misbehavior and crimes are human beings with a whole life both outside and inside your prison walls. Let's begin. Personalities and connections. It's all biology. All of the important information about your individual inmates can be found in their bio. The bio is really the core of who the prisoners are, why they're locked up, and what they've done since they've been here. It includes tons of helpful information not just about their sentence, but also why they might do the things they do. The information is split into the following tabs: bio, an overview of their sentence and personality traits, needs, how they are feeling right now, connections, who they like, who they don't, and record, what they've done while locked up. Dire traits. Traits determine a lot about an inmate. They can affect their personality, physical and mental skills, social attitudes, and much more. Traits can be complementary or conflicting and play a major factor in how inmates perceive each other. For example, an inmate with the parental figure trait may be more likely to enjoy the company of people who are young. People who are pushovers are more likely to gravitate to those with a silver tongue. Literally, no one likes a coward. Not even other cowards. If you have 2 inmates who are constantly getting into scrapes with each other, there's a good chance they have incompatible personalities. Connect the dots. Inmates can form connections based on their interactions with each other. Connections are built, change over time, and can be lost or forgotten. Every time an inmate interacts with another, they get connection points, a small positive or negative number based on how they felt about that interaction. They had a nice chat? Plus 5 points. Someone punched them in the face? Big negative penalty. Positive interactions can come from a wide range of places, such as chatting, sharing a canteen table, or engaging in social recreation activities like table football or chess. Negative interactions can come about from interactions such as sharing a cell with someone with conflicting traits or the outcome of fights. In Prison Architect, 2 players can use the regime, rooms, and objects to create social hangout areas and things for prisoners to do together, and thus help to promote prisoner connections. The addition of bunk beds and shared cells also means that players can group friends together, or use the cell transfer feature to separate others not getting along. Positive interactions, which increase the overall connection score, can push inmates from being acquaintances to friends, close friends, or best friends. Negative interactions, on the other hand, will likely lead to rivalries, enemies, and arch-enemies. Generally, the more extreme the score, the more problematic the connection will be for you, the player. It's worth noting that connections are not symmetrical, and even if one inmate considers the other their close friend, the other could consider them a rival. The friends we made along the way. The connections between your inmates can have a really big impact on your prison and the issues you'll need to respond to. It might be somewhat obvious that enemies are more likely to attack each other on site, but on the flip side, close friends are much more likely to help each other in escape attempts, or even heal an injury if they have the skills. If a really popular inmate dies while in your prison, then all of their friends will spend the next couple of days grieving. Connections have a really big impact on how prisoners make decisions, so it's worth understanding where the problem areas are. By using the popularity and infamy info views, accessed on the right-hand side of the screen, you can see a color overlay of those with the strongest connections, whether good or bad. On the record. The last tab on an inmate's bio is their record. The first pieces of info it gives you are a snapshot of the inmate's parole details, essentially, how long have they served, and how likely is a parole hearing to be successful. There are a lot of things that make up someone's parole chance, outside of the length of sentence they've served. Officials will also consider how they've reformed, such as which qualifications they've acquired on the inside, the number of hours spent working, and the inmate's recent behavior and punishments. Thanks once again for joining us for this feature dive. In early development, we knew that one of the most important parts of the Prison Architect experience was the emergent stories that the inmates inadvertently generated. And we are really excited to see how those stories play out now the inmates are generating them on purpose. Will you build a nurturing prison full of best buds, or a harsh environment full of rivalry and squabbles? The dev team...
We'll find out that one. All right, y'all. So because there was a lot of news since the fast track streams, we're gonna go through 2 more Dead Diaries, and then we're probably gonna end it, or probably not. Thank you all for watching the March live stream. I know it's really short, but I also want to mention this too. So I don't know if I'm going to be going live in April. I may do a small video to catch up with Prison Architect 2, then I will just stop. So yeah.
Hello lovely people, I am Penge from the Geek Cupboard and I'm collaborating with Paradox Interactive
Geek cover. So this one's...
Hello lovely people, I am Penge from the Geek Cupboard and I'm collaborating with Paradox Interactive to bring you this tutorial on the tools you'll have to manage your prison in Prison Architect 2. Running a prison isn't an easy job, there's a lot to manage and situations can pop up at any time to make things a bit complicated. Fortunately you have a number of very handy prison tools at your disposal to make your life that little bit easier. In this video we're going to look at prison staff, prison programs, prison policy, prison labour and intake. Of course you couldn't run the prison at all without your wonderful staff to do all the different jobs that need doing. In Prison Architect 2 staff are split into 3 groups: workforce, security, and admin. You can see the members of staff you have in each group by clicking on the staff button and then clicking on the appropriate tab. Workforce staff are the workers, janitors, cooks and doctors that do all the building, cleaning, cooking and medical care in your prison. Security staff are the people in charge of maintaining order in your prison and include guards, snipers, enforcers and dog handlers. Admin staff are the managers, the paper pushers behind the desks who fill in all the forms and write all the reports. As well as generating XP, which you can use to unlock new things for your prison, specific admin staff also grant you access to other useful tools. For example, an accountant allows you to view your finances, while the security chief provides access to sector deployment for your security staff. To hire new staff members, simply click on the appropriate hire button and the new recruit will appear on the roster. If a hire button is greyed out for a type of staff member, it will need to be unlocked via the bureaucracy tree. If, for whatever reason, you want to fire a member of staff, maybe you can't afford them all or one of them looked at you a bit funny, then find their character portrait in the appropriate staff tab and then right-click on their portrait to dismiss them. Prison programs give your prisoners the opportunity to learn new things or better themselves whilst in your prison. For example, prisoners who pass a higher education program are more likely to be paroled, and those who pass an addiction therapy program can lose their addiction trait entirely. To view the programs available in your prison, click on the management button and then the programs tab. In total, there are 6 different types of program: basic education, higher education, kitchen safety, mindfulness, addiction therapy and behavioural therapy. The 2 education programs cost $500 to run, whereas all the others cost a mere $200. Programs need to be unlocked in the bureaucracy tree. If they aren't unlocked, you can't offer them to your prisoners. If you choose to run a program for your prisoners, you'll need to select a room and a time for the session to take place. The basic education, whereas all the others cost a mere $200. Programs need to be unlocked in the bureaucracy tree. If they aren't unlocked, you can't offer them to your prisoners. If you choose to run a program for your prisoners, you'll need to select a room and a time for the session to take place. The basic education, higher education and kitchen safety programs need a classroom, whereas the mindfulness, addiction therapy and behavioural therapy programs take place in a common room. To assign a program to a room, click on the program you'd like to run. In this example, we're going to run a mindfulness program, and then find an appropriate room in your prison. Click on the room where you'd like to run the program and then choose a time slot. Free time is required in the prison regime for time slots to be available. Once you've selected a time, click on it and the program will be booked in. You'll be able to see the booked programs and time slots on the overlay, as well as on the program planner in the top right corner of the screen. Each program in a classroom is taught by an external teacher, so there's no need to hire any extra staff. The prison psychologist teaches the programs assigned to all the common rooms, so you won't be able to book simultaneous programs at the same time in separate common rooms, because the one psychologist can't be in 2 places at once. When you select a program, some prisoners will be highlighted on the map. Those in yellow are interested in attending that program. Prisoners in green are already enrolled, and those in blue have already passed the course. One very useful tool you want to make use of is being able to dictate prison policy. Prison policies are unique options that allow you to control specific aspects of the goings-on around your prison. To view prison policies, click on the administration button, then click on the policies tab, then click on the prison-wide option. This will show all the policies you have unlocked that you can currently control. To change them, simply tick the appropriate box or drag the relevant slider. Once a policy has been amended, the change will take effect around the prison the moment you leave the administration screen. To begin with, you may not have many policies available, so you'll need to unlock them by using the bureaucracy tab. If an upgrade gives you a new prison policy, it will clearly say policy and the name of the policy in the list of things the upgrade unlocks, as shown here. Upgrades on the bureaucracy tree are looked at in more detail in another tutorial video. Another aspect of prison policy is the ability to dish out punishments to your prisoners if they misbehave, and let's be honest, they probably will from time to time. From the Policies tab, click on Punishments to see the range and severity of punishments currently set for various misbehaviours. From this screen, you'll be able to specify the type of punishment for a particular misdemeanour, as well as the length of that punishment, and whether the offender and their cell should be searched for any contraband or other things they probably shouldn't have. You can set individual punishments for a custom configuration, or if you just want to set everything to the same severity, you can use the All Punishments option as shown here. Click the drop down and then select how harshly or not you'd like to punish your prisoners. Click Yes to confirm your decision, and a default set of punishments will be applied. Prison labour is a tool that allows you to put your prisoners to work around your prison. Not only does this save a bit of money on staff by getting your prisoners to do things like the laundry or the cooking, it could also stop them getting into trouble by keeping them busy. Prison labour is covered in more depth in another tutorial video, but it's a very powerful tool you have to exert your authority on the prisoners. Intake determines how many new prisoners will be sent to your prison and is a crucial tool for any warden. Not only do prisoners earn you money when they arrive at your prison, they also generate income each day they remain there, so the intake of prisoners is key to the continuation of your prison. To view prisoner intake details, click on the Prisoners button, and then the Intake tab. Prisoners are split into 4 different security levels: minimum security, medium security, maximum security, and supermax. The higher the security level of the prisoner, the more money you'll receive. This is covered in a little more depth in another tutorial video. To adjust the amount of prisoners you'd like to welcome into your
That tutorial video will be coming next week. I don't know if I'm going to cover that one due to the fact being that I'm a sandbox player. It's money. So I will be be doing something with that because I may take April off and I may come back in the beginning of April, do the rest of them, and then yeah. So yeah. So see y'all.
prison, simply drag the slider of the appropriate security level up or down to the required number, and then press Save Changes. The next day, if there are cells available, the new prisoners of that security level will arrive. If there aren't any cells available, then no new prisoners will be sent to you. Once the new arrivals have been safely delivered to you, the intake settings will reset to 0. If you want to repeat the same intake settings day after day, then set the repeat option to on. If you want prisoners to arrive even if there are no cells available, then set the overfill option to on. However, use this with caution because overcrowding in a prison generally leads to bad things happening. If you've unlocked the intake arrivals bureaucracy upgrade, then you'll be able to change the arrival time of your new intake. Click on the arrival time drop down and choose a time that suits you. Whatever changes you make to your intake options, remember to press the Save Changes button before leaving the tab. So as any prison warden will tell you, managing a prison can be a very tricky job indeed. You've got finances to balance, expectations to manage, reputations to uphold, and of course the board are always watching to see how you handle the pressure. But as warden you do have a lot of very useful tools, policies and staff members to help keep your prison running as smoothly and effectively as possible. That wraps things up with our look at the prison tools you have available in Prison Architect 2. Remember to subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with other Prison Architect 2 tutorials and videos, and we'll see you in the next one.
Alright.
Watch later. News and updates. Feature highlight number 7 Prison Tools. Please note, the visuals and gameplay. Hats up, fellow architects.
What's up?
We're back to preview more features on Prison Architect 2 before its release into the wild. This week we'll be talking about some of the tools at your prison running disposal. No, not the type of tool that prisoners use to tunnel. The sharpest tools in the sandbox. There are a whole load of tricks at your disposal when you're running your own prison, and we're going to dig into a handful of them today. Whether it's the essentials of staff recruitment and prisoner intake, or the minutiae of prison policies, we've got you covered. Sorting the wheat from the staff. How are you going to run your prison without staff members? Poorly, that's how. Luckily, we've provided a wide range of employees to bolster your lockdown. You can hire various staff members by accessing the staff menu at the bottom of the screen. From there are 3 types of staff you can hire: workforce, security, and admin. The workforce makes up a bulk of the people who will run your prison: the workers who build it, the janitors who handle laundry, and the cooks who provide square meals to your prisoners. Security staff are the ones who handle the inmates. They are made up of various guards, enforcers, and snipers, who will physically intervene in an attempt to keep peace and order in the prison. The admin staff is your managerial team. who provide access to important bureaucracy upgrades and earn you XP for the time spent at their desks. To hire your staff member, all you need to do is go to the staff menu, choose the tab with your employee type, and then pick the role you'd like to hire from the list on the left-hand side. You'll be shown their daily wage on the Hire button. You can also fire your employees from this menu by right-clicking their headshot in the staff list. Furthermore, you can select individual staff members in the world and fire them from their personal info panel. Make sure you're not overstaffing, as the wage list for your prison is normally the largest expense. You can check how your cash flow is doing from the Finances tab in the Admin menu, but we'll talk about this more in a future article. All you do is intake, intake, intake. Once you've got enough staff to handle your prisoner population, it's time to intake. By going to the Prisoners menu at the bottom of your screen, you can choose how many prisoners you want to bring in, of the different security classes available to you. You'll start with access to minimum and medium security inmates, and higher securities can be unlocked in the Bureaucracy menu. There are a bunch of additional options you can apply to your intake. If you have the new arrival times upgrade unlocked, you can choose what time the bus arrives, as opposed to the standard 9 a.m. drop-off. You can also choose whether you want the intake to repeat daily, whether you want your intake to keep your prison at max capacity, or even allow for overfilling your prison. Be aware though, that without a high turnover of prisoners and plenty of holding cell space available, overfilling your prison, while lucrative, can be a disaster. Policy, camera, action. Once you've got plenty of staff and prisoners, you will probably want to start thinking about the policies you have in place. Your policies can have a really big impact on how your prison operates. You can find your policies by opening the Administration menu. Prison policies are things that impact some global rules on how your lockup operates. You'll need to unlock policies through bureaucracy, but once you have them, you can make changes such as choosing which staff members carry keys, balancing efficiency and security, or even at what point of their sentence the prisoners are able to apply for parole, balancing increased release rates against prisoner morale from failed hearings. The next tab, Punishment, is how you control your staff response to prisoners misbehaving. You can choose from some global presets, all the way from lax to extreme, or even change the individual severity for each misbehavior, as well as whether the punishment should also trigger a search of that inmate or their cell. This is more impactful than you might think. Inmates will respond less positively to harsher punishments, and it could lead to further misbehavior, violence, and escape attempts. On the flip side, inmates know what they're being punished for and how severe it is. The new feature, Punishment Memory, is taken into account the next time that an inmate is making a decision whether or not to misbehave. If they've had a recent punishment and that punishment was strict, they may change their mind about doing it again. This means that you may be able to curb specific issues like high contraband levels by punishing those misbehaviors more severely. Just be careful, it's a very fine line to balance. We got ahead of ourselves. This week's video also dives into programs in labor, which we also touched on a couple of weeks ago. If you want to read more about the classes and courses you can run for your inmates, or how to manage the labor distribution of your prison, you can find more information on the Steam post for feature highlight number 5.
Yeah, we already did that one. So, yep. So now we're going to be going to the dead highlight, which is the new one. This one, I'm going to read this first due to the fact that this is mainly a part of the video.
Number 5. Highlight number 2, the world of career mode. Watch at 11 showcase the career mode in Prison Architect 2. Will you freely architect and manage your own prison in sandbox mode or build a successful company in career mode?
Sandbox mode.
__. This episode contains information such as, what is career mode, what are the thoughts behind it, and some other fun tidbits such as a developer Easter egg. Make sure you check it out to get the latest on the career mode in Prison Architect 2. Movie camera. In this video you'll meet puzzle piece designer Natalie Wicks will tell you all you need to know about the career mode in Prison Architect 2, as well as give us a look into the history of the feature. You have not missed. Director Gareth Wright talks about how things have evolved from the original Prison Architect to Prison Architect 2 and the possibilities of the career mode feature. You have not missed the first episode of the Dev. EAD animator Craig McMullen will tell you more about the animations used, specifically how their work with facial expressions on characters could be used in the career mode's features.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry, there was a little bit of a glitch. I want to do it again. Yeah, I said to do it again because it won't close out.
One of my favourite things about Prison Architect 2 is what we've done with career mode, giving a lot of structure for players with different play styles, get those dopamine hits by completing levels and progressing and ranking up. Career mode has something like 18 levels between like the normal mainline scenarios and all the optionals, where we kind of not just teach the player the game but also give them a bunch of challenges and then give them a bunch of levels with challenges to go build their own thing. But to make sure that we give as many players with different play styles the opportunity to really engage with the game and get excited about it in the way that we used to when we played like the early management games back in the day. Here's a little snippet for you. This person here used to be me. The first thing that I did when I found out that there was a back-end character creator in Unity was like, I'm going to go in, I'm going to make my little me. But so you've got a few different characters that'll come up through your scenarios and they'll give you jobs to complete. So at the beginning of career mode, there is quite a heavy focus on the basic construction stuff. So things you're going to be doing is you're going to be building cell blocks. You're going to be learning how to build cell blocks on multi-floors. And then as the game progresses, you'll get a lot more specific challenges. So like later on in the game, you're going to be playing a prison that's got a load of escapes. So you've got to find all of the escape tunnels while you're there. And one of the last scenarios, you will load into a prison which is mid-riot. And you've got to quell that riot before the inmate's able to take control and shut the place down.
The original Prison Architect, they were called Prison Stories. It was a much smaller set of missions and quite story-driven as well. But what we've tried to do in Prison Architect 2 is give the player more of a presence in the game and a motive. So you're basically running a company. So there's progression built into there as well, where you want to expand your company, expand your admin team, and then as you progress, you also unlock new features through the staff that you add to your company. And there's kind of a world map hub as well that you travel around. It does act as a tutorial as well for players that want to learn about some of the features, but it's a lot less kind of shoved in your face. It's more about the progression and running a prison company.
Animation's woven throughout every element in the game, but that career mode does utilise all of the systems that we've created. Because we created the facial expression system, which they use to create pop-ups with the character faces on and stuff like that. We use the facial expression system for the mugshots, and all of it's interwoven, and you see it everywhere, no matter what part of the game you look at, to some degree.
I think for you, Nat, like you were talking about, we always wanted to do a campaign mode as well for the game, and
we took it out of the original pitch.
Yeah,
I remember. I banged on about it for so long. It's like, we need a campaign with levels and scenarios, and we took it out because the scope was huge. And then about a year and a half in development, we went, no, we could really do with a career mode. So I was really, really pleased about that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's become one of the game's main USPs as well, I think, because Prison Architect 1 was developed over 14 years, including us, and we've had 2 years. But it's been that balance between, well, we want to put all the staple features in the game.
I mean, the core game is the core game. It's brilliant, it's beautiful, it's a lovely little system thing, but some people just can't jive with sandbox modes, and they just can't for whatever different reasons. So it's really nice to be able to give lots of people lots of different ways to play the game. Potentially opens it to a bigger audience of people while still hopefully supporting those kind of core Prison Architect players.
The other thing I think about campaign mode as well is the way we've got this world map which we can populate missions on, and it's kind of shrouded by cloud cover.
Yep.
on the edges, but if every time we want to introduce new content in the feature, it's also a place where we can expand that career mode map and teach the player about that new thing.
We can absolutely bring back some of those clouds, and there'll be a little hidden island that no one knew about, and then the new features come in. Yeah, it was built with that on purpose, so it could be really, really modular. We should be able to pick it up through their post-release process and content and all that sort of stuff, and put some new bits and pieces in.
For me, it's kind of fixed a little bit of that problem with Prison Architect 1, where we were the original developers of console, integration was still on a PC, but the way we would message new things to players was different on each platform. One had the prison stories, one had like CEO letters and things like that, whereas this new campaign mode, we could do the work once for all platforms.
Yeah, absolutely we can. It's a really nice way of doing it.
All right. Oops, sorry, you didn't consider look at that. All right. So we've been live for 46 minutes. We just think we did it all. I also here's the actually before I forget. Here's the S Plus Series X version. Now available for pre-order. So yep. So let's go back. And I didn't mention this in the beginning. I now own the game already in your Steam library. Yep. I bought the game and it's in my library. So yep. We're ready for May 7, 2024. So yeah. Also, it's a mention of modern community. So yeah, people are now there's the Double 11 have fill out their form for them to add mods to the game. So yep, that's good too. So yep. So I'm really trying to go through this stuff. May 7, 2024. So yep. It was a staple of what we can do and what we can do. So April may be infinite or can so it'll be canceled just because it's still pending for April because let's go seek that. Sorry. Hmm. Yeah, sorry about that. Let's go seek that at all. Let's go look at that at all. So I might do that because it feels something you should do. Go. We did regular stuff. So I think that's it. We did everything we gotta do. We update y'all. There's no gaming news from anyone. So GTA 6 is now. So if I go to view all, Grand Theft Auto 6 is now up here. So you guys can see that. Yep, it's still coming. This will be coming 2025. So yep, 2025. There's so speaking of that, I have to mention that GTA 5 does not have a release date at all. GTA 5, sorry, I meant GTA 6. GTA 6. GTA 6 only shows 2025. I don't know when Trailer 2 is going to come out. People are saying spring 2024, summer 2024. But as always, I will not be sharing any information with the community, with my community, without that truth from the companies. So whatever his name is, Mr. Boss for the Win, yeah, Mr. Boss for the Win is so he's subscribed to him. He is. I have seen the negative stuff about him, and the negative stuff about him, all that stuff. So yep. There's nothing for me to say more about what I just see, or what I've been seeing for the past couple of days. So yeah, thank you for watching the live stream. I hope you like this. I hope you like the video. Oh wait. Shit, shit. That's it. Let's check the. So just to save some time and get this video to 1 hour, let's check on the Microsoft Store. So what we'll do is this, and we're gonna do this. Put this over here. So yep. Right now we're going to go over to the Xbox. So let me just do something in the studio. So, let's do this, and maybe do this, and let's go here. All right, so you guys should be able to see what I'm doing. Yep. So y'all, welcome to the Xbox. So we're going through the Microsoft Store too. Sorry, systems. So just any games on my radar. Coming soon. So these are the current games coming soon. We're not going to be playing this game, y'all. We're not going to be playing this game either. Playing series out of the question, y'all. Sorry. And you guys know if it's architecture, so let's see the games that came out in the past days. So Hotel is a game that came out. It's a game on PC. Some of these games just don't interest me, y'all. They just don't. So see. I also want to mention to y'all, I did start a new city in City Skylines too because it was just messing up. So I was trying to redesign a highway system I did, and it just glitch, bug, and I'm telling you now, that game is glitchy. So for the time being, as of for now, City Skylines 2 I'll be playing off camera until all these bugs are gone. Well, at least I'm gonna be going live on them. I'll probably maybe still do some videos on it, but that's gonna be a very rare chance because it's just too much for me. So I'm still going through the Microsoft Store looking at games. And as you guys can see, I think we're all the way back in 2023. So yeah, we're all the way back in 2023. So there's not been a lot of games this year came out, but it's still the first quarter. I think the first quarter ended, but I'm not for sure. It's still the first quarter of 2024. So yeah. Here's the things that are on my wish list. What's this wish one? I don't know. So yeah. Hardware. So yeah. So yep. So yep. So I think that'll be it for now. We'll see you guys in we'll see you guys in probably in my monthly recap. I will decide if we're going live in April or not. So we'll see you guys then, and we'll be back in the next episode. We'll be back in the next live stream, probably in May or April, depending on the schedule. So yeah, see you guys, and see you guys soon. Bye bye. So yep. Sorry, y'all. I'm just doing something before I end this room. So, yep.